Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this evening's post-match press conference featuring Heinrich Klaasen following the conclusion of the fourth Betway ODI between South Africa and Australia here at Supersport Park in Centurion. That concludes my introduction. We will look to take questions from the floor first before we go to those online. And to those online, just raise your hand if you would like to ask a question. Who would like to start us off this evening?
Cheers. Heinrich, well played. Obviously a very special knock. What made it so good for you out there this afternoon?
Probably that it's at my home venue. I said to Aiden earlier today when he asked what we need to do, so I said I probably wanted to bat first on that wicket. So yeah, for me it's just special because it's at my home venue. I grew up here and they normally produce fantastic wickets and the crowd was fantastic today. I think it's close to a full crowd today, so a lot to take in. So I will definitely go tonight and watch a little bit of the highlights.
Did you get into what sportsmen call a zone? Because it didn't look like at one point it didn't matter where they bowled. You were just going to go.
Probably. It's tough to describe. Yeah, but probably that's the best way to describe it. But we also do a lot of homework. And like I said, the wicket is fantastic. We put a lot of hard work in the last couple of months again. So finally it paid off again. So we're very pleased.
Heinrich, earlier this season, I think it was after the England game in Kimberley, you sort of like mentioned, that you guys feel that you're on a path now to being a bit more liberated and free, as batters. You're allowed to express yourselves without the fear of failure and stuff. Is that sort of like culture now, really does it feel entrenched now for you as a batsman? Because it seems that you all of you guys are basically in form and you guys are allowed to grow and allowed to do what you want to do, yeah.
Yeah, I think two good examples from today was Quinny when he went out. Back in the day, there's no need for him to do it, but we want to take the game forward. And then Russia as well in the 35th over. We already got a couple of that over, and then our biggest thing is to make sure that's a big over. And for him to not sacrifice, but to go and be positive, and unfortunately went out. I think that's two great examples from where we've been and where we are at this moment. Guys are putting the team first and are willing to take the game forward.
Thanks. We're going to go Ken, then Myron.
Very well batted, Heinrich. Lovely stuff. Just to follow up from Stuart's question a bit, I mean, anyone just sort of looking at the scorecard would say it was a pretty one-sided display. Australia must have bowled really badly, but towards the end there were still Yorkers that you managed to hit back over the bowler's head. They bowled wide to you. You managed to get those over back at point. How much hard work do you have to put in to be able to? I mean, it pretty much looked like whatever Australia threw at you today, you had an answer to it, and it was normally a boundary.
Yeah, I honestly don't think they bowled badly, like you said. If you look at the scoreboard, you might think that, but I think till the 35th over, they bowled incredibly well. They kept their lines and lengths, and the message that came back from the guys in the middle was it's difficult to manufacture stuff from that length that they're bowling, so we've got to be a little bit patient, and hence why the run rate was so slow on a good wicket. And then when Rassie started to be a little bit more aggressive, that's when they just went off from that length, and it was a little bit easier to score from there on. And then, yeah, a lot of hard work goes into where bowlers need to bowl. A lot of homework goes into that, and it's always nice to face your bowlers at training as well, and they know exactly where other players will bowl as well. So it's all about the options that you need to take, and on a day like today, for me, it was just stand still and take what's to offer. And now I've got a lot of options, and sometimes I overuse them, but on today, it worked out perfectly.
Thanks. We can go Myron.
Heinrich, great knock, congrats. Can you chat to us or share the messaging within the group, having gone 2-0 down, still a fair amount of cricket to play, and then turning the tide. And just secondary to that, within the batting unit, there isn't too much of competitive cricket left before you get to India. are the boxes that need to be ticked, have they been ticked? Is there a bit more to do from a batting unit point of view by the time you get to the World Cup?
Yeah, on the first question, I think we were way off in the first couple of games. Our basics were not on par on this level, and the intensity that Australia brought in the first 2 games exposed us big time. So we had a couple of chats about that, and then in Poch it was better. I don't think 100% better. Aiden played a fantastic knock on a difficult wicket there. So in the second question, I think our batting unit is in a very good space. All of our guys are in form. We've got runs under our belt, and we've got a lot of experience in India as well. We're fortunate enough to play over the last couple of years quite a bit of cricket in India, and a lot of our batters actually play in India cricket for the IPL and stuff like that. So there's a lot of knowledge in the batting unit, as well actually in the bowling unit. It's just for us to nail the basics and bring in the intensity, which we did a lot better today.
Are there any further questions in the room before we go online? Yeah.
Heinrich, congrats on your knock today. I'm just interested to find out, like, you've had a really good year, and right now you're mentioning the fact that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes preparing for games, but all of those things throughout your international career probably have been there, those processes, the homework and stuff. But what do you think has made this year so different for you in terms of the success that you've experienced, T20 cricket and one-day cricket?
Yeah, I would say the last 2 years for me was the turning point in my career. I took a lot of options out of the bag. You look up to some role models and you want to be like them, like A.B. de Villiers, and try to play all the shots, and you do all the work on all the shots, but the genius behind them is knowing when to play it. And for me, I explored a lot with it, and it didn't work, and now I had to take out a lot of options out of the bag and form 3 different options to use every game. And before you go out to bat, you need to know, okay, option A, option B, option C, or whatever golf bag you basically need to bring to the party today. So for me, it's just about maturing into my game, knowing what my options are, and stick to that game plan. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, at least I know I've went in with the right mindset and the right clubs to use on that wicket.
Thanks. We'll look to go online, starting with Fidos, then Telford, and then we'll look to wrap with Nathan.
Thanks, Lucy. Sorry, there's a little bit of a funny thing. We're not like hearing the audio. I don't know if you can.
We are struggling to hear your audio. Do you want to try one more time?
Yeah, is that better, or shall I just type it for you?
Oh, no, that's perfect. We can hear you loud and clearly.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Heinrich, what did you... I lost you quite a few times when you were talking, but I think you were saying that you're going to go back and watch the highlights of that knock. Did it feel almost like quite a whirlwind? Can you describe some of what you experienced as you hit those runs?
Yeah, for me, it's what changed in my career over the last couple of years is playing every ball as it is and take what's to offer, basically. So for me to stay in that mindset, I don't recap on what I've done in the previous ball or the next ball and those type of things. So Tim David asked me how many sixes did I hit, and I actually don't know. So it shows that my mindset is in a good space and that I'm only focusing on what's coming up at that moment. So yeah, I have to go back and look at it. It was awesome playing out there, and you don't often get that feeling, or maybe once or twice in your career, that you play innings like this.
Thanks, Fidos. Telford?
Thanks, Lucy. How's it, Heinrich? The answer is 13 sixes. Can you hear?
It's also breaking up, Telford.
Hello?
Perfect. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hello? Have you got me?
Yes.
No, you're gone.
Okay, we have lost you. We have lost you again. We'll just try Nathan, and then we'll come back to you, Telford.
Can you hear me?
Hi, can you guys hear me? Nathan speaking.
Yes, we can hear you, Nathan.
Thank you very much, Lucy. I just got 2 questions from me. Congratulations On the topic of batting, you guys showed a lot of frustration in the T20 series, especially at the fall of a wicket. Be key to save the series. What has changed mentally and performance-wise from the 3-2-20s and 2 ODIs losses to now two consecutive ODI victories?
Yeah, I wasn't at the T20, so I wasn't part of any of those chats, so it's difficult to answer that. But our one day batting unit is in a fantastic space, like I said earlier, and we're just building on all our stepping stones, and hopefully the momentum keeps going into the World Cup.
Nathan, was there a second question?
Then finally, my final one, Heinrich, a personal question. Yes, said, I've opened quite the class of club. When you were showcasing your batting prowess, Heinrich, what drives you to perform like that?
Your question is broken up quite a bit, but if I understand the question, is that's what we play for as cricketers or professional sportsmen, that, like I said, you don't get this moment a lot in your career, maybe once or twice, and that's what you go to bed and you dream about, these innings, where you just hit everyone to all part of the ground. And like I said, you don't get these innings every day. So for me, it's just why I dream big, and why I put the hard work in. So when these moments come, that you make sure you use it and take all in.
Great, thanks. We'll look to wrap with Myron. Thank you.
Heinrich, just a follow-up on some of your responses. When you talk about simplifying your approach, when you do have a number of shots in your bag, and clarity of thought, especially over the last year and the last 3 years, can you take us in a little bit into the processes? I mean, how did you get here is what I'm asking.
Yeah, like I said, I explored a lot, and by playing the game too far in advance, it's almost like, okay, I know what the bowler is more or less going to do, but I'm hitting this ball into that area. And it doesn't matter where the ball is, I'm hitting it into that area. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and I went through a bad phase where I went out quite early, taking a risk, and then actually got dropped. I had to learn the hard lesson, went back to domestic cricket, and the coach said to me, I'm using too much or too many options, let's limit yourself. I know what my capabilities are, and if I bat for 40 overs, the team will normally be in a good position. So I'm almost batting within myself at the start, just to make sure that I get a good platform, and then almost try to play every ball, like, how can I say it, just react to every ball. Stand still, watch the ball, and whatever the ball needs to be, or wherever I need to hit it, my body will take over and just react to it. So it took me a couple of months to get back to my best 2 years ago, and a lot of hard work. I hit a lot of balls. Not a big guy that hits a lot of balls at training, but I had to do it. I needed to invest in my batting again and not take it for granted. And since then, I've had a little bit of a blueprint at training to what I had to do, and from there on, I used it. It's still working, so hopefully it will keep on going.
And sorry, just to follow up, and if you could share, over the last couple of years, what outside of cricket contributes to that kind of success as well?
I think having good mates. I've got a lot of friends that's very hard on me, keeps me humble. And when you screw up, they let you know about it. So you have to go put in the hard work. And when you do well, they also congratulate you and have a drink with you and celebrate your success. So that was a big part of me, or part of my change. And then obviously having a family now, that over the last 8-9 months, that's changed big time for me, because the little one doesn't care what I done tonight. I saw she's awake already, so it might be a long night tonight. So that's for me, just getting away from the game and make sure when I get to the ground, it's all about business, but I leave everything behind before I get back home. So for for me, my family and my friends play a big part of everything on and off the field.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Heinrich, and thanks to those who have joined.